Alright guys, currently I'm up here $30,000 here on this Bitcoin short position, and using this chart, and this chart over here, we're going to be predicting if the Bitcoin price indeed is going to bottom, or is it going to crash much further to the downside. So let's first talk here about the rainbow wave indicator. As you guys know, this is pretty much my favorite indicator, and I've been talking about this indicator in many of my videos. Now, if we currently go here to the logarithmic scale, we can see that Bitcoin trades beautifully in these 4-year cycles, and we can see that it follows this beautiful wave, and that is what this indicator here displays. Now we can see that Bitcoin again, almost beautifully here traded again within this wave. So this indicator is still accurate. Now we did not hit exactly the top of the bands like we did hit here every single time before, but my theory is that because of AI, a lot of miners actually pivoted away from Bitcoin, and there was also much less demand for Bitcoin and generally, speculative assets like Bitcoin or altcoins, because people could have better returns in AI, and generally speaking, a lot of retail went into AI. We also saw gold rallying very high to the upside. So I think because of that reasons, we just didn't see that much money flowing into Bitcoin. It was kind of like a bunch of things coming together, miners having to sell and just less retail in general. And I think that kind of coincided here with the fact that we did not hit this exact top like we have hit before. But in terms of the bear market, we are still exactly following this exact trend line. And we are currently exactly around the bottom where we previously as well found our bottom. Now, what is very interesting is that we always bottomed out here exactly around this green line. Now we topped out here around this red line, and then we bottom out around this green line. This is exactly 1 year apart. And we know that there's always about 1 year difference between the top of the cycle and then the bottom of the cycle. Now we can actually take out here the circle indicator. So if we actually take out here the circle, where's the circle? Here we go. We can actually see that there's a pretty much perfect 4-year cycle that plays out over and over again. And we bottom out exactly between these large circles. Now, currently, this exact level is set here around October of this year, which means we still have a few months left before this thing is going to bottom out. And again, we always bottom out here around this green trend line. So what I would still pretty much say is that we're probably going to continue to go sideways and range around this level until eventually bottoming out and then starting our uptrend here further to the upside, maybe breaking here to about, this would be about 100,000, maybe in about a year. So you're probably looking at next spring, somewhere trading around $100,000. And then probably 2029, you're looking here at Bitcoin going to these higher levels, maybe 500,000, but that's a topic for a different video. But this is something that I really expect. Now, if you generally look currently at the sentiment for Bitcoin is extremely bearish. Now, we can use the funding rate indicator, and this indicator is extremely accurate because what we can see right now is that the funding rate is extremely negative. I mean, we're currently trading around 0.4%. Literally every single time that the funding rate spiked here around this level, the Bitcoin price had a significant bottom. Now, if you don't know what the funding rate is, we're not going to go exactly into how this exactly works because we don't really have enough time. But basically, this is the number one best indicator here for sentiment. Generally speaking, if the sentiment is in this negative territory, more people are short than they are long. And when it's green right over here, more people are long than short. Now, people generally go short, like as of right now. That means people are borrowing money because they expect the Bitcoin price to go further to the downside. But when literally everybody is expecting the price to go to the downside, who's really left to sell? I mean, just imagine that. Like, let's say all of your friends come together and you're bearish on the Bitcoin price and you all decide to sell a bunch of Bitcoin. Now, let's say if your friends were literally only people buying and selling Bitcoin, if all your friends sell, then who's left to sell? Nobody. So the price would stay at the same level. It wouldn't crash further to the downside. And so with everybody being this bearish right now, if there's nobody left to really sell because everybody that wanted to sell has already sold, then you can likely see that the only people left are people to actually buy Bitcoin. Because even if there's not a lot of buyers, if there's just not enough sellers to push the Bitcoin price further to the downside, it will still move to the upside. So what we can also see here, and it's the second indicator right over here, this is the ETF indicator. Now we know here that the orange is BlackRock, and then the blue one is Fidelity, and then the purple one here is Grayscale. And what we can see is that even though everybody is literally extremely bearish right now, we have literally added about 400,000 more Bitcoin than when we were trading at this exact level here during the halving. So at that point in time, there were only about 800,000 Bitcoin here in all of these ETFs combined together. And currently there's about 1.2 million, which means that the ETF increased here by about 400,000 Bitcoin. So we also have MetaPlanet, we have Michael Saylor buying more Bitcoin. So generally speaking, the only people that were really selling during this whole entire bear market is retail and probably miners as well. Miners are really capitulating. So generally speaking, we're not seeing that the big holders are selling a bunch of Bitcoin and the retailers are generally speaking short. Now, this is the type of divergence that generally speaking sets a bottom. Again, I've been trading Bitcoin for a very long time. I also have another channel as well where I've been making videos here for about 7 years. So I've kind of been around for a long time, and this divergence is generally speaking something you see around the bottom. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't come to my house if this is wrong. Like, we could definitely crash to 30K. There's always a possibility, you know, a meteorite could hit the planet and we could all die. So anything can happen. But this is a type of divergence. When I've seen it in the past, it would generally result here in the bottom. So literally everybody is worried about the Bitcoin price, and I am absolutely not. So I am currently still in a short position, even though I do think that we're somewhere close to the bottom. I still hope for maybe one more push here to the downside slightly, and then to close here this short position, I could probably move my stop loss a little bit tighter as well. But that's kind of what I'm expecting here so far. So maybe let's hope for one more push to the downside, maybe to the bottom here of this range. But yeah, generally speaking, I don't really expect that this is going to cause another secondary collapse. Now, what is very interesting, and this is called the Gaussian channel, and there's something that I kind of found here today that kind of blew my mind, and I kind of wanted to really talk about this because I think it will blow your mind too. So what we can see in this Bitcoin bear market bottom here in 2018 is that when we touched here the Gaussian channel again, we instantly broke here all the way to the top of the Gaussian channel. You know, you can see this was literally like a matter of like a couple hours of us breaking this entire Gaussian channel. So you can see the moment that you touch this, you instantly break above it. It's just a matter of like a few hours or a few days to completely break above this. Now, the reason why I talk about this, because in this bear market as well, you guys can see that the moment that we touched it here for a second time and we started breaking through this, we instantly pumped here to the top of the Gaussian channel. So we instantly pumped through it. So everybody's literally bearish right now about Bitcoin price. But again, what happens if we touch this thing again and we again start retesting this? We can instantly pop here all the way and make a jump from 70K to 85,000 US dollar. And that's what people don't really understand. People just kind of think like about all the pessimist scenarios, and people think like, oh, we're going to crash to this level, this level, this level. But you have to realize is that if we start breaking through the Gaussian channel, you can literally pump in a matter of like 2 days all the way to the top. We can literally go from 70K to 85K the moment we start breaking back into this. And that's why I'm not really pessimistic about the Bitcoin price, because even though everybody is extremely pessimistic right now, and even everybody's expecting that the Bitcoin price is going to have a big waterfall move to the downside, why not just look at the other way? Why not look at, okay, how high can Bitcoin actually go? How much higher has Bitcoin historically went every single time that it bottomed? And again, in this Bitcoin bear market, right over here, from the bottom all the way to the top, this was about a 700% increase. So even if we do something, you know, let's say something similar from this, let's say this is the bottom, or let's say 50K is the bottom, and let's say we do another 700%, you know what we're going to end up with? We're going to all the way end up here around 400,000 US dollar. So people are saying, okay, well, the cycles over time, they lose value, they lose strength over time. But why can't we do a 700%? We literally did it in this Bitcoin bear market, and this Bitcoin bull market, and this Bitcoin bull market had AI. We had gold pumping, and we just had generally people being pessimistic about Bitcoin. We can see that whole script flip. If the Federal Reserve comes out to print a bunch of money, then we have some positive news. If gold dumps and people lose faith in gold, then we have something positive for Bitcoin. If people lose faith in AI and the government is forced to print money to keep the bubble alive, that's something positive for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin going up here, 700%, is very realistic. It is very possible. Now, it doesn't have to be, you know, things can change over time, and maybe it's only going to be 300%, maybe it's only going to be 400%, but you'd still be outperforming inflation, you'd still be outperforming stocks. So let's look at the potential and the upside that Bitcoin has, rather than just looking at how low the Bitcoin price can get, because unless you're planning to sell in like the next 6 months, it really doesn't matter Bitcoin goes to 40K, 30K, and then goes to 200K in 2 years. Because if you're here for the long run, it really doesn't matter how low Bitcoin goes, even if it goes to 10K. If you weren't planning to sell in the next like 6 months, and Bitcoin goes down in 6 months, and then it goes up to, you know, 200K in the 6 months after that, then you haven't lost anything. So that's kind of the, I guess, the pointer of this video. So don't worry too much, don't be too pessimistic. Everybody is short, and I think a lot of people are probably going to get wrecked. So maybe one more slight crash, and then probably kind of a bounce, and then until like October of this year, probably slight sideways action. It's kind of what I'm betting on right now. So with that, I want to end this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe. Hope to see you guys in my next video, and bye-bye.